Jnanakosha, Puranas.
सर्गच्च प्रतिसर्गच्च वंशो मन्वन्तराणि च वंशानुचरितं चैव पुराणं पञ्चलक्षणम्.
Markandeya Purana. Separation of Madalasa. The newlywed couple had hardly spent few months together when King Shatrujit once again instructed Ritudhwaj to travel across the entire earth and see whether the Brahmins were performing their religious duties without any obstacles. Ritudhwaj obeyed the dictates of his father. He used to scale vast distances for the whole day and return to his wife only at night. One day he noticed that a sage was staying at the bank of river Yamuna. He was in fact Talaketu, the younger brother of Patalaketu, but the prince could not recognize him. That sage approached Ritudhwaj and requested him to extend his protection over his hermitage as he was about to start yajnas. He also begged for the precious necklace of the prince on the pretext that he had nothing to pay as dakshina. The gullible prince gave his necklace to the sage. Then, instructing the prince to guard the hermitage and promising to return soon, the sage left. In fact, the sage, who was actually a demon, arrived in the court of King Shatrujit. Madalasa was also present in the court. He said Prince Ritudhwaj sacrificed his life fighting with the demon while protecting my hermitage. Before his death, he gave me his necklace. His horse has been captured by the demon. I have brought this necklace to you to inform you about that sad incident. After giving the necklace to Madalasa, the demon returned to the hermitage. Hearing the news of her husband's death, Madalasa also gave up her life. Mourning soon enveloped the entire palace. Seeing the death of his daughter-in-law Madalasa, King Shatrujit was in a dilemma as for whose death should he mourn. A little contemplation led him to the conclusion that it would be futile to mourn his son Ritudhwaj. Ritudhwaj's death because he had died for a noble cause, but his daughter-in-law had followed the steps of her husband, so her death should be mourned for. The queen also supported the king. Thereafter, the king performed the last rites of both of them. When Talaketu returned to his hermitage, he found Ritudhwaj still standing alert. In a sweet tone, Talaketu said, I am obliged by you, O prince, staying here with unwearying mind. You have executed my desired task. I have met my objective, so you may go now. Prince Ritudhwaj then returned to his palace, riding his horse. Madalasa is reborn. When Prince Ritudhwaj reached the capital, everyone expressed his pleasure with surprise. Ritudhwaj met everyone happily and went to the palace of his parents. Though the king and queen blessed him, but sad expression on their face surprised the prince. Upon enquiry, the king related the entire incident and also how his wife Madalasa had died. The news of Madalasa's death shocked Ritudhwaj. Then, consoled by his parents and friends, Prince Ritudhwaj carried out the necessary consecrations to pacify the soul of his dead wife. He had decided never to marry again. The sons of the Nag said, O father, now Prince Ritudhwaj lives like an ascetic. He never casts his eyes on women and only indulges in playing with people of his age. Hence, all we can do for him is to keep him happy. Hearing the entire tale, Nagaraj fell in deep thought. After some time, he said to his sons with laughter, O sons, now I will do such a thing that will bring back the smile of Ritudhwaj. Saying this, Nagaraj Ashaptar reached Plakshavatran, a place of pilgrimage at the foothills of Himalayas, along with his brother Kambhal. There they began to do severe penance to please goddess Saraswati. At last Saraswati appeared before them and asked them to seek a boon. Ashaptar requested her to bless both of them with a sweet and melodious voice. After granting them this boon, goddess Saraswati disappeared. By her blessings, Ashaptar and his brother Kambal became famous singers. Then they began worshipping Lord Shiva, singing sweet and melodious hymns. Pleased by their prayers, Lord Shankar also asked them to seek a boon. At that Ashavatar said, O Lord, I wish that Ritudhwaj's wife Madalasa takes birth as my daughter. Lord Shankar said, with my blessings your wish shall come true. During the Shraddha period, you yourself take the middle portion of the pind, food offered to dead ancestors, and contemplating on me, offer oblations to your ancestors. Madalasa will emerge from your middle food, going before Lord Shiva. Thereafter, both the brothers returned to their kingdom in Patala Loka. Ashavatar organized a Shraddha in the same way as told by the Lord and consumed the middle portion of the food offered to the ancestors. Then, contemplating on the desired object, he let out a deep sigh. Instantaneously, Madalasa emerged from his middle foot. Ashavatar did not reveal this fact to anybody and made adequate arrangements so that she could live in secrecy. Thereafter, one day he instructed his son to bring their friend Ritudhwaj to the palace. Both the sons once again joined the company of Ritudhwaj. One day while playing, they insisted him to visit their palace. The prince gladly accompanied them. In Patala Loka, he was amazed to see his Brahmin friend getting transformed into serpents. They took Ritudhwaj through the streets and lanes of their kingdom. Ultimately, they reached the palace of Ashavatar. Introducing Ritudhwaj, the serpent prince said, O father, this is our brave friend Ritudhwaj. Ritudhwaj greeted Ashavatar respectfully and received his blessing. Ashavatar said to him, Long live, O prince. My sons always sing praise of your divine virtues. I request you to stay with us for a few months and enjoy the pleasures of Patala Loka. Ritudhwaj reunites with Madalasa. Ritudhwaj stayed in the palace of Ashavatar. Nagraj did his best to keep Ritudhwaj happy and forget the sorrows of his wife's separation. During his stay, Ashavatar tried many times to coax Ritudhwaj into revealing his happiest desire. But every time Ritudhwaj intelligently avoided the topic. Once King Ashavatar, in Ritudhwaj's presence, asked his sons what should be done to please him. They informed the king that nothing less than Madalasa would please the prince most and that the prince was eager to see his deceased wife once more. Prince Ritudhwaj also said shyly that he would be greatly obliged if Nagraj could help him to have a sight of his deceased wife. Ashavatar said, O son, if you wish to see the illusion, come on, have a sight of your deceased wife. Saying this, Nagraj called Madalasa, who was staying secretly in his palace, and asked Ritudhwaj, Take a good look, O son, if she is your wife. Seeing his wife before him, the prince fainted. When he regained his consciousness, he stepped forward to touch her, but Ashavatar stopped him, cautioning that she was not real but illusionary and would vanish as soon as he touched her. Hearing this, Ritudhwaj once again lost his consciousness. When he regained his consciousness, he uttered nothing but she is mine. Seeing the pitiable condition of the prince, Nagraj revealed the whole story of Madalasa's resurrection. Ritudhwaj became extremely joyous after reuniting with his wife. Then he contemplated on his divine horse, as a result of which it appeared within a moment Riding the horse, Prince Ritudhwaj returned to his kingdom with his wife Madalasa. Birth of Madalasa's sons. After returning to his father's kingdom, Ritudhwaj narrated the whole incident to his parents of how he regained Madalasa. Then they began to live happily. After many years, King Shatrujit crowned Ritudhwaj as the king. After King Ritudhwaj's accession to the throne, Madalasa gave birth to her first son. Ritudhwaj named the child as Vikrant. After some time, Madalasa gave birth to her second son, whom Ritudhwaj named as Shubhahu. Subsequently, their third son was born and named Shatrumardhan. After the naming ceremony of the third son, Madalasa could not help laughing as she was very amused by such a name given to her son. The metaphysical knowledge which Madalasa gave to her three sons had helped them to become ascetics. When their fourth son was born, the king sought her approval on the name being given to him. This made the queen laugh. The king asked her to name the child. Madalasa named this child as Alarka. Hearing the name, the king ridiculed its relevance. Madalasa said that the names have significance only for worldly matters. She also reminded the king about the futility of the names given to their previous children. As Madalasa began to preach her fourth son about the metaphysics, the king stopped her by saying that she had already preached all the three sons on the faith path of renunciation. He requested her to spare the fourth child so that he could grow up and become the king one day. Madalasa then blessed her son. You are blessed, my son, because you will rule the earth without obstacles. Now cultivate in your heart the desire to do well to others. Never cast your eyes on women other than your wife. Always contemplate on Murari to destroy the evil thoughts in your heart. Preachings of Madalasa. Madalasa used to preach the little prince while playing. When Alarka attained boyhood, he asked, O mother, what should I do in order to mastery over physical and metaphysical matters? How can I serve my subjects in the best possible way? Madalasa said, looking after the welfare of the subjects religiously is the supreme duty of a king. He should always be alert against the activities of his enemies. With the help of spies, the king should keep a watch on the activities of his minister so that he could not make friends with the enemies. It is unwise for the king to trust everybody, but under certain circumstances he may trust even his enemies. A king must control his lust, but at the same time he should make efforts to increase the boundaries of his kingdom. Surrendering to sensual comforts is like death for a king. A king should appear as all-pervasive and omnipresent. Fostering the subjects with total righteousness enhances the wisdom of the king. Duties of people belonging to various ashramas, varnashrama dharma. Alarka says, tell me about the duties of the different classes and stages of life. Madalasa says, donation, study and yajna. These three are the religion of a Brahmin. Performing yajna for others, teaching and accepting donation are the three occasions of Brahmin. Donation, study and yajna are also the religious duties of Kshatriyas. Protection of land and using weapons are vocation for Kshatriyas. Religious duties of a Vaishya are also same like that of Brahmins, such as donation, study and yajna. For a living, Vaishya may take up animal rearing, agriculture and trade as profession. Serving all these three above mentioned castes, as well as making donations and performing yajna are the religious duties of a Shudra. Tilling the earth, serving Brahmins, feeding animals, selling and purchasing items are professions of a Shudra. A person belonging to Dvij class may relatively enjoy freedom until his sacred thread ceremony has not been performed. After the sacred thread ceremony, he should come to stay at the home of his teacher and observe celibacy strictly while studying scriptures. There he is expected to serve the Guru insincerely. At the completion of education, he should pay dakshina to his Guru. He may get married and start the second stage of his life, that is Grihastha Ashrama. He should then subsequently opt for Vanaprastha and Sannyasa respectively. After the completion of education and paying all the dues, the disciple is ready to start second stage of his life, that is Grihastha Ashrama. For this he should first find a suitable girl from his caste and get married. Grihastha Ashrama is considered as the best stage of life. It is in itself a complete yajna. As a householder, he is expected to foster those who are dependent on him. During this stage of his life, he should earn his livelihood by occupations ascribed for his caste. He should please the deities by performing yajnas, his ancestors by making oblations, Prajapatis by producing children, spectres by offering sacrifices of cereals, and society by showering love. Even the ascetics and celibates depend on married people for their daily bread. Hence, married life on Grihastha Ashrama is stated to be superior among all the ashramas. A Grihastha must welcome and treat even his unexpected guests with great warmth. A householder who fails to satisfy his guests never succeeds in religious matters. The yajnas that are offered in such households go futile. Hence, it is not proper for the householder to show ego and abuse a guest, otherwise, he will have to expiate for it later. When the children of the householder grow up and his body becomes senile, he should go to the forest after relinquishing the world. There he should pass his time by indulging himself in austerities and religious activities. This stage is known as Vanaprastha Ashrama and is most necessary for the sanctification of his soul. This stage is followed by Sannyasa Ashrama, the stage which requires complete renunciation, celibacy, control of senses and anger. The virtues like truthfulness, sanctity, non-violence, tolerance, forgiveness, kindness, generosity and contentment are the religion's merits applicable to all the ashramas equally. Those who abide by their religion stay in the abode of Brahma till the reign of 14 Indras. The king punishes those who violate this religious code. If the king doesn't punish them, he is himself destroyed. Hence, a king must first of all abide by the duties as prescribed for different ashramas in his life, and only then he has the right to punish those people who violate these dictates.